going on, everybody? What's going on? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song Today, Rock 2000 today. Happy to have you here. Happy Tuesday. This is the August, what the hell am I talking about? October 22nd episode of the Chord Progression Podcast, episode number 37. Glad to have you here with us. And, oh man, I got some fun stuff for you. But first, before we do any of the fun stuff, I gotta do the shameless plugs, where I gotta say, if I had advertising for this podcast, that is exactly where it would be. But because I don't have any paid advertising, I'm just gonna push, the My Song of the Day stuff. So this is the Chord Progression Podcast. If you are a first-time listener, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song of the Day, Rock 2000 to today. If you're a returner, welcome back. Love to have you here. For the My Song of the Day stuff, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also on TikTok as well. So for Facebook, you're going to get notified anytime something gets released. Twitter, we're going to talk to you guys. Instagram, we do a lot of talking, a lot of fun stuff like our behind-the-scenes IGTV videos, like a behind-the-scenes vlog, and our Instagram live streams every single Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we do all our full-fledged album reviews, band reviews, every kind of fun video you can think of. We do it there. Link in the description as well. The Chord Progression Podcast, which you're listening to right now, if you're listening to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or on YouTube as well. I mean, you can find it in all those places, so that's where you can listen to and subscribe. Also, we have our Amazon Alexa skill, where you can listen to the Song of the Day choice in its entirety. We got the licensing for it, so you listen to it in its entirety for 24 hours, and the next day, boom, you get a new one. We also do this fun thing called Small Bands There, where we feature smaller bands that you don't know about yet. Might remind you, yet. And what you get to do with those small bands is you get to get in on them before, they make it big. You can be like, hey, I knew these guys before they made it big because of My Song of the Day, Rock 2000. So please, please, please follow us on all this fun stuff. It is fantastic. I absolutely love you guys for it. So please help us become even a bigger part of the rock community. Well, we are a big part of the rock community already, but we need to be bigger. We need to be bigger, badder, bolder. So, yeah. So enough with the shameless plug, guys. If you want to follow all this stuff, look at the description for this podcast because all the links are going to be in there. Now, I want to start out by talking with, I'm going to say this, even though I said, Tuesday, I'm shooting this episode on Sunday afternoon. Why? Because I do stuff on Sunday night, and Monday, is a work day, and I really don't want to do this on Monday when I've got time. I can do it now. So, I got to talk about what happened to me last night. So, last night is on when I'm, recording this. So, this is Saturday, October 19th I'm talking about. I've been looking forward to this day for months at this point. The reason being is because you guys know I'm on this huge giant concert bender right now. And on the 19th in Milwaukee at the Rave, a band that I had been introduced to at the beginning of the year from our Instagram follower, Evie, one of the biggest fans of the My Song of the Day stuff, love her to death. She introduced me to Motionless In White. They came out with their new album this year. I've seen them once in concert already, and I had a blast, and I was so happy. I get to see them again on the Trick or Treat tour with After the Burial. This is the one stop on the After the Burial tour where We Came as Romans was not going to be there, so I didn't really mind. I was just stoked to go see Motionless In White. Now, the day beforehand, I was hanging out with one of my friends, and I went to this haunted house with him, his fiance, one of his fiance's friends, and I think two members of her family. So, of course, having a good time, yada, 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 all that jazz. Don't really want to go into it. However, my buddy's fiance's friend and I, we were kind of hitting it off. And when she first met me, she thought I was going to be a Bible basher. I was going to be singing all these Bible verses, having a good time. But then, of course, on the car ride to this haunted house, my buddy was like, okay, what do we want to play? Of course, the first thing we're playing is Down with the Sickness, because we're just going nuts. And then my buddy's like, okay, Kevin, pick something. And I pick Voices by Motionless In White because I'm thinking, I'm going to see them. This is perfect to go to a haunted house to. Let's start listening to some Motionless In White. And this girl was like, wait, you like this? I'm like, hell yeah, I like this stuff. Are you kidding me? And I told her I was going to see him the previous night. So as I was, after the haunted house, we went back to my buddy's house, and my buddy and his fiance went, into the house, went to bed because it was 12:30 in the morning by the time we got back. And, my phone went buzz for something. But I'm going to actually put that aside so it doesn't go buzz anymore. And then she messaged me during the day. It's like, are you still going to Motionless in White? And is that offer for me to go with you still staying? I said, well, fuck yeah, it is. Are you kidding me? So she ended up buying a ticket, and I got to go see Motionless in White with her. But it wasn't that what was the crazy part. It's what happened during the show. So on my way down to the show, I could tell it was going to be a really weird night because I had gotten on the freeway, gotten to the venue, just got off the freeway, and I realized I had forgotten my phone at home. So, of course, I take a lot of videos at concerts of every single concert I go to. So, I mean, you've seen all of them and on our Instagram page, and I didn't want to, let anybody down. Plus, I need to find this person. So I'm like, shoot, I need to go back and get my phone. Now, that wasn't that big of an issue because going back, getting my phone, I live 4 miles away. And I mean, there's an on-ramp right by where where I live, and there's an on-ramp right next to the venue. So I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be too hard. So when I get to the venue, she's waiting at Wilcox. She picked up her ticket there, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's have some fun. I believe the first band that went on, their name was Twisted or something like that. And, I mean, I just wasn't into them. They were more hip-hop. It was more kind of like a Hollywood Undead type thing, but I really wasn't feeling it. Because you guys know I like Hollywood Undead. I just wasn't really feeling these guys. Now, when After the Burial came on, this is where everything started to get into motion. Because After the Burial, I gotta say this, I am mad at myself because I've slept on them for so long. I mean, I saw them that they're coming out on this tour. I know they came out with an album this year, and I really didn't care to really go into it or listen to their stuff because I was, I'm more of a hard rock, punk rock kind of guy. So when it comes to metalcore, I'm growing into it with some bands, but I gotta grow into it right. Like with Motionless in White, when I first heard Voices, and then Eternally Yours, which if I'm gonna make a top 10 best song or my top 10 favorite songs of all time list, I've already got like three that I know are gonna be on there for sure. And Eternally Yours by Motionless in White is one of those three that I know for sure I'd put on my top 10. Well, my personal top 10 for that I like. And I will listen to, as much as possible. But After the Burial comes on, and it is just getting nuts. The energy is so amped up. And of course, I'm looking at my friend like, I've got to go jump in that mosh pit. So I was pretty much in the mosh pit, in the circle pit, the whole entire time for After the Burial, and I was enjoying the music. Like, this is the kind of metalcore that I really like from After the Burial. It's a little bit, it's different from Motionless in White. I believe the best way to describe it is similar to kind of like what, kind of like Architects from the UK. I like their sound, especially off the Holy Hell album from last year. And then, just kind of all this stuff from metalcore like Motionless in White, Ice Nine Kills, Killswitch Engage. Killswitch Engage is probably a really good one to mix it with. But during the last song for After the Burial, the crowd, I have to say, the energy was amped up in this building. And they were going to have us in the basement, actually, of the rave. But because there was so much demand for tickets and they sold out, and there was an R&B artist up in the ballroom, the Eagles Club, which is kind of like the ground floor level stage, which is like, you walk in and it's right there. It's a lot bigger than the basement. They had to move them up there. They sold more tickets. And they almost sold out of those. So, I mean, the people wanted to go see Motionless in White. And the mosh pitters in there were just brutally good. I mean, these guys were just hitting everybody inside, and it was so much fun to get in there. And I don't think I've fallen down in a mosh pit since the last Motionless in White show, and I've been jumping into a good amount of them. Like, I didn't fall down during Seven Dust. I didn't get knocked. August Burns Red is a little bit of a different story because I kept getting toppled over the benches, and that's just a horrible thing that's been going on. So I'm not even going to count that towards getting knocked over. Let's see. I didn't get knocked over at Pennywise or Anti-Flag. I did not get knocked over at Rise Against, and I did not get knocked over at Gwar. So, I'm feeling pretty good. And I get knocked down, once, and I get back up, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling really good for some reason, because it's like, I have not got knocked down in a long time. But during the last song, or second last song, right at the end, of course, I end up getting, tripped over, and I fall down on the ground. Okay, no big deal. You fall down on the ground in the mosh pit. It happens. It happens. So my friend that I came with and somebody else, they both try and pick me up. And right as I'm about to get up, here comes some guy in the mosh pit. He trips over someone, and him and I collide head to head like, boom, and I fall back down, and I put my hand over my left eye, and I pull it out, and it's just bleeding. I'm like, okay, is it my eye? No, it's above my eye, but under my eyebrow. If you're watching the preview on this, I'll put a picture up there right now. Yeah, nice and gnarly cut above my eye. So of course I run right to the bathroom on that one because, man, I'm a little mad. Not the fact of the mosh that happened to me in the mosh pit. Of course, you have to expect that. But it was like I was having such a great time. The energy was there, and now my eye is cut. And I was a little disappointed because I was having so much fun, and I did not want to jump out of that mosh pit. But you know what? I've talked about it beforehand when I saw Anti-Flag and Pennywise, where someone busted their nose, it was bleeding, and he kept going, and we just wanted to get out of there. I didn't want to be that guy. Plus, it's a head injury. It's gonna bleed. So I've got my hand over my head, go to the bathroom. They don't have any paper towel in there, so I gotta use toilet paper to, like, hold it up. Now, my friend, she comes over after the last song just to see if I'm okay. And, of course, there I am. I have a bunch of toilet paper over my eye, and I'm just smiling like a goofball because I'm just having so much fun. She's like, let me take a look at it. Luckily, she's a nursing student, so she was able to take a look at it. She's like, it's a little wide, but it's not as deep as you would think. I'm like, I could kind of feel it. And there was somebody else in the bath. There's a guy in the bathroom who's a male nurse who kind of looked at it as well, which is kind of cool. And they both said the same thing, like, it's wider than you'd think it is, but it's not nearly as deep as you think it is. So I'm like, so no stitches. They said, see what happens in 10 minutes. If the bleeding, like, slows down, then yeah, I think you should be fine. I had the bleeding stopped within, like, 6 or 7. So that was actually pretty cool. However, I'm going to say this during the show, it did open up a couple of times, but I had this toilet paper stuck to my head, and of course, my friend and I, she's like, well, I want to go back in there, like, not in the mosh pit, but I just want to get back in the crowd because the energy is awesome. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking the exact same thing. Just let me get some more toilet paper so that I can hold some over my eye. And then I was trying to find something, to tie over it. She had this, like, old flannel she ripped off a whole piece of it, a whole nice straight piece of it, so that I could keep the toilet paper attached to my eye and tie it up there. And now I'm like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. This is when Motionless in White comes on. And I thought the energy for After the Burial was, I was one of the top 5, crowd energies I have seen this year. And this was for an opener. I think, I loved the Riot Fest crowd because that crowd was bonkers. But then again, there's so many people, we're pushing together. So that crowd was awesome. Trying to think, but then this one, I'm like, this one, it might beat it when Motionless comes on. Motionless in White comes on, and the pit is even bigger. It's even crazier, and the fans are so into the whole entire show. I don't think I've seen a show with that much energy before. It was astounding. Myself, I was like half and half on this because I was mad because, of course, I'm cut. I want to get in the mosh pit. However, I didn't want to jump back in because I didn't want to go bleeding on everybody and make it worse. Not only that, but with my friend, I didn't want to have her have to deal with, my dumbass end up bleeding all over the place even more so than I already was, or get another cut or make this one worse, and then maybe she had to drive me to the hospital. I don't know. I just didn't want to do it. Plus, I was having a good time with her anyway, and I was really enjoying spending time with her, so I was fine just sitting, or not sitting, of course not sitting. You don't sit at concerts. I was fine saying and just rocking out with her. After about the second song, so I believe they played Creatures first and they played Reincarnate after. And then Chris Motionless comes up and just is like, how's it going, Milwaukee? And he starts giving a little speech about how this tour has been absolutely amazing, absolutely insane, but how they were not expecting the level of energy that we were having that day. Like, we were going absolutely insane. It was some, like, I'll describe it this way. You ever been, I'll say sports. You ever been playing and you have, like, this insane win, or you're playing so well that everyone's just amped up and you get this feel like nothing can go wrong and everyone is so excited and it's just the crowd is roaring and you're just feeling fantastic and the energy is there. This is what it felt like. It felt like, well, I wouldn't say as good as that, Vikings versus Saints game when Diggs caught that ball at the end of the game. Minneapolis Miracle, that was something insane. But this was close. Just how the overall feeling was. It was insane. And you could tell the guys from Motionless in White were just feeding off of it, especially Chris calling out. He's like, yeah, the best show we've had so far, like the most energy was at Greensboro, North Carolina. He's like, you guys are something completely different. And the fans are going nuts. I gotta say this though, the energy did not relent throughout the whole entire show. They just kept it up and up and up. And credit to Motionless in White as well, because everyone was feeding off it. Ricky, Justin, Chris, Vinny, all 5 guys. I forgot. Shoot, you know what? I gotta call out the 5th guy's name too, because I can't remember his name, but I gotta call him out too, because all 5 guys were really just feeding off of it. It was something where you really wanted to be there. I'm not gonna lie. You really, really wanted to be there. And I'm so glad I was still like, that the eye thing didn't, hinder me too bad, because otherwise it would have been bad. I forgot Ryan. How the hell could I forget Ryan? Oh my God. Now I feel like a dumbass. But to Motionless, the set was perfect for Halloween. A lot of pumpkins, a lot of green and orange and dark light, like green lights, orange lights, a lot of darkness, some purple lights. So you really had this whole Halloween feel. And my God, we're retreated to some stuff. The band played nothing off of Infamous. They played absolutely nothing off of Infamous. They played 3 songs off of Creatures, which I thought was awesome. I believe we got like 1 or 2 off of Reincarnate. We got a good amount off of Graveyard Shift. And we got like, I'm trying to think what we all got off of from Disguise. We got Disguise. We got Headache. We got Code, which was freaking awesome. We did not get Thoughts and Prayers, which I was really hoping for. We got Brand New Numb, we got Broadcasting from Beyond the Grave, and we got Catharsis. The Pit, I have to say, for 2 of those songs up top, actually I say 3 of the pits were insane. Headache, the pre-chorus with Chris just going, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. It was just absolutely madness in that pit. It was, people were just bouncing left and right off each other. People were getting thrown over each other. It was nuts. Code had a really good pit as well, along with Abigail. And, oh man, I was feeling it. Of course, they ended with Brand New Numb. They went off and everyone's chanting one more song, one more song. And of course, I know they're coming out for one more song. It's Motionless in White. And they're going to come out with and end with Eternally Yours. It is such a great song, and they're going to end with it because it's perfect. They come out, they end with Eternally Yours. The energy kept the same level throughout the whole entire thing, and it was at 130,000%. I mean, the energy was absolutely insane. This was one of the most fun concerts I've ever been to in my entire life. Motionless in White's Trick or Treat Tour. And I'm going to hold Chris Motionless to this, because they're talking about how they want to come back to Milwaukee already again early in 2020, and I really want to see them again early in 2020, because you guys come back in early 2020, you're going to get that exact same kind of feel for the show, but they got to put you at least in the club. If they put you in the ballroom, even better, but we're just going to go nuts. I hope the club and my eye will hopefully be healed by then. But I will end my whole entire concert experience with this. One of the best shows I've been to this year. Might be the best. I know it's in the top 5. I'm going to combine, for like top 5 bands I've seen in concert this year with the concert experience, I'm going to put Rise Against up there, because I saw the special Ghost Note Symphonies one plus Riot Fest. So that combination is insane. Motionless in White, from the first time seeing them to last night, or Saturday night, I should say, with all the energy, it was absolutely amazing. The 2 times I saw Disturb, meeting Kathy and seeing the show with Kathy, all of that was fantastic. So that's 3. When I lost my shoes at Under Oath, Breaking Benjamin, and Skillet, yeah, that's going to be up there. And then we tipped the benches at August Burns Red. Those are probably my top 5 right now, not in any particular order, but of course I've still got some left. I've still got next week Sunday, which is going to be another one that might easily be in that top 5 with Beartooth, I Prevail, and Data. Remember, I still get Light the Torch and Ice 9 Kills later on. I still get Devil Wears Prada. I still get Falling in Reverse. I get Anti-Flag again, and I think I get another one too. But then again, who knows how many more I'm going to see? I could see 10 more by the end of the year, and I'm going to be so damn happy, you're not going to know what the hell to do with me. Okay, now we'll actually end it like this. I'm so glad that this person who I had met the previous night ended up joining me for Motionless in White, because she was so much fun to be with at that concert. And hopefully I get to go see some more shows with her again and hang out with her more again. We'll see what happens. But here's to hoping, because this chick is freaking awesome. Okay, so Motionless in White. If you did not see him on the Trick or Treat tour, you missed out horribly. Because, oh my God, was that so much fun. I'm going to have to redo my top 10 bands of, like, my top 10 favorite bands, because Motionless in White is going to be in there now. So, same thing with Skillet. I just got to find out where they're going to be ranked and what 2 bands dropped out, and then do all that stuff. You know, I might do that once a year, or I'm just going to do, like, my top 10 favorite bands of all time, Redux. Like, take a look at it again. You know, did anything change? Is anything right? Of course, I'm pretty sure Rise Against is going to be number 1 still, but we'll see where the other affiliations kind of change. Now, we also had some new music to come out this past weekend, and you guys have seen me. I think I've talked about it on the on the live streams, to where since Crown the Empire came out with their new album on July 19th. So what was the last time when they came out with their album on July 19th, along with Sum 41? Since that moment, it's been 3 months. And I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I've done 15 album reviews within 3 months, and I'm kind of getting sick and tired of them, honestly. I'm not going to lie, when I did the Lacuna Coil one, I was feeling rather jaded by it by the end. So I'm like, I've got 2 more to do this year? You've got to be kidding me. But then I looked at the 2 I had to do this year. I'm like, Alter Bridge? Ooh! And Who's Last? Saint Asonia, the one I've been waiting for the whole year, is the last one it looks like I'm going to end up doing. And I am excited for it. So my love affliction for doing the album reviews is finally taking over. But I'm deciding to do it a little bit differently and change it up. Because if you watch the album reviews on YouTube, I had been going with something a little bit more you know, what I did at the podcast anyway. So you get both the same. So you do the background a little bit on the band up to that point, and then I would go through each song and just speak for like a minute and a half on each song, and then do my full composite review, and then what I like and what I dislike about it. But then I kept thinking, like, I do the same thing on the podcast, and on the YouTube videos, it's like, I'd rather have a little bit of a shorter one than a longer one. So let's see how I change this up. If you watch the YouTube video tomorrow, you're going to get a different experience than what you get on the podcast, but you're going to get the same information nonetheless. So the YouTube video is going to be more of a compilation of everything from, you know, the background to the meanings and the themes of the album, to the composition, the instrumentation, the vocal performance, overall what I like, what I dislike, and the overall rating. Here on the Chord Progression Podcast, though, we're still going to go deep dive into it, and you're going to get the full take on Alter Bridge's Walk the Sky and all the other albums coming forward. So, Alter Bridge's Walk the Sky, you know, you're going to get something from Miles Kennedy. You're going to get something from Mark Tremonti here. So, let's see how they did, because I was excited for this one. Now, myself personally, I'm a huge hard rock kind of guy, and you guys know that. But I never really fully got into Alter Bridge. I just don't know why. I think it might have been, I just don't really know why. Even like The Last Hero came out twice. I just really didn't pay attention. I really didn't care, even though it peaked at number 8 on the U.S. Billboard Top 200. And since that album came out, I mean, you hadn't heard much from Alter Bridge because there was a lot of side project stuff going on. I mean, Miles Kennedy doing his thing with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, you know, Slash feature Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. They had come out with a new album that was kind of had mixed reviews to it. Miles Kennedy came out with his solo album, Year of the Tiger, in 2018, and that was seen as one of the best albums of the year last year by many outfits. It had the southern rock acoustic kind of vibe to it, but of course you're going to get Miles Kennedy's vocals, and his range is just ridiculous. His vocals are so powerful that you're going to understand what happens. And yeah, I mean, this was one of the best ones of the year by a lot of people. Also, the Tremonti project. So Mark Tremonti's got his own band called Tremonti, who I actually ended up seeing last year, and they came out with their album A Dying Light last year as well. This one had mostly positive reviews, and this, of course, the Tremonti project, out of all the side projects that Alter Bridge guys have, Tremonti is my favorite project, mostly because it had that hard rock style. Tremonti goes harder. His vocals are a little bit gruffier than Miles Kennedy's when he actually sings. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's go from here. Now, right before the album came out, I mean, there's been a lot of interviews going out there for Walk the Sky, and Mark Tremonti called this album like a John Carpenter movie. So John Carpenter, we think of them like those horror movies from the 70s and 80s, like Halloween, the original Halloween. Michael Myers, Donald Pleasance is Dr. Loomis, Jamie Lee Curtis. That's the Halloween you're going to be thinking about. And the reason why he said that is because what he meant by that was with Alter Bridge. Alter Bridge, you know what the sound Alter Bridge has, but they wanted to expand on it by adding layers to each song. So they didn't want to get away from their sound. They just wanted to add more to it and really get more complex with the songwriting. And between Mark Tremonti and Miles Kennedy, these are two fantastic songwriters. And Alter Bridge usually has some of the most beautifully composed rock music out there. So if anyone's up for the task for adding more complexity, adding more layers to already insane rock music, it is definitely these two guys. So the way this one was written was actually a little bit differently. What had been happening in the past was Miles and Mark would be coming together with ideas for songs, and then they'd collaborate on those ideas, work on them together, and then work on them with the rest of the band. This time they did a little bit differently, where instead of coming with ideas, they came with full-fledged song concepts and what they wanted to do, and had the other guys, basically bring their vision to life. So a little bit of a different writing style for some of the best writers in the business. So we'll see what happens. Plus, I do have to give a note to the artwork on this album, because this artwork is some of the best album artwork I have ever seen. It is fantastic. However, I'm not sure if it's the best of 2019 even. There's a battle in my head between who had better artwork in 2019. Is it Alter Bridge and Walk the Sky, or is it going to be Saint Asonia with flawed design? Both of them are just stellar. So I'm not sure which one's going to happen. I may have to do a whole video trying to figure out which one was better, because it is tough to pick between the two. Alrighty, so Walk the Sky had about an hour-long runtime with 14 songs to it, and let's really go deep into it. So overall, I'm going to talk about the first thing, the meanings and the themes of the songs. Now, the meaning, kind of like the theme of the album, I really kind of thought was I'll speak on each theme of each song, but just beforehand, I'm going to go into the whole entire overarching theme, which I believe is a thing of reflection and just learning. So kind of walking along, being able to look back at your life, look back and see what had happened, what you have done, and how it's made you the person you are today, or how you can use that to make changes in your life. So it's really more of like a reflection, and doing it before, you walk the sky as an angel and you're no longer here on this earth. So the first song on this album is called One Life. Now this song, it's not that long of a song. It has a meaning, kind of like, you got one shot, one opportunity to make the most of it. Kind of like, like the intro to Lose Yourself by Eminem, if you had one shot, one opportunity, chase everything you ever wanted, one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? That's kind of the Alter Bridge embodiment of this one. It is rather slow, but it doesn't really fit in the album anywhere else except for the lead in, because it's got a different pace and feel to it overall than the rest of it album. It's kind of like the only black sheep when it comes to pace, because it's slower than the rest of them. And it's softer overall in the underlying instrumentation. There's really no shredding in there on the guitar from Mark Tremonti. It's really soft and kind of really amping up on that reflective feel. Now, Miles keeps his vocals in a real whisper kind of tone, which I'm not the biggest fan of the move, but it's mostly because I just don't like the song overall, but it really makes sense when it comes in as the intro. So, again, like I said, the only reason One Life works in the intro. Going to song number 2, we have the song Wouldn't You Rather. Now, this was the first single, and this was the one that got everyone into thinking, okay, what's Walk the Sky going to be like, and are they going to, come through on what they're talking about with all those layers? So the song is about kind of like posing the question of, would you rather live by your truth and what you want, instead of always trying to keep up with the Joneses and always trying to impress other people and follow along someone else's plan for you instead of your own? Which I am, again, a big proponent of the move. The intro does have that classic feel to it, so it's an Alter Bridge song, and finishes again with that harder guitar from Mark Tremonti. So it really brings you in, you're like, this is Alter Bridge, let's go. The vibrato and pitch on Miles Kennedy's voice on Wouldn't You Rather, especially in the verses and the pre-chorus, match oh so very well. They explore the higher pitch, the more emotion. They mix the underlying instrumentation so well, so you get a really good feel with it. Where I really didn't care much for this song is when the chorus comes in. I'm not saying the chorus is bad. It's just the vocals that Miles Kennedy comes with and mixes with the underlying instrumentation. Something just doesn't feel like it really syncs up. So overall, when it comes to Wouldn't You Rather, it's not one of my favorites, especially with the chorus. But there's a smooth Mark Tremonti solo in there that really kind of keeps it together and as a whole. Up next, we had the number 3 song, In the Deep. Now, I've been singing this song's praises for a while, and you're going to hear it here. So the song is kind of all about finding that person in like a relationship that you're going to end up loving. So it ends up when you're kind of finding that person you fall in love with, and every time you're intimate with that person, it's like nothing else matters except for them, and you've found heaven, like you've gone into the deep with them, and you've just gone deep into love. I absolutely love the intro. It has this higher guitar distortion, and it mixes really well with the hard rock instrumentation that follows suit right after it. So you're kind of getting like a I'm like, oh wow. When I first heard it, I thought it was fantastic. Now, I've been talking about how these songs are constructed. This one is constructed absurdly beautifully. So the verses, it has a slower tempo, and it's kind of brought back down to where it's not as prominent, it's not as big. But then you get to something like Miles Kennedy's vocals, and he kind of starts out with this lower pitch, lower tone. It's like, oh, so now you're really kind of just building on something, especially when you get to the pre-chorus, because the tempo picks up, the pitch of Miles' vocals pitches up, or increases, I should say. Why I say pitches up? But you get this feeling like the emotion starting to pick up. Then the chorus is what builds on it, and it just hits it because you get Miles Kennedy going with these fully higher pitched emotional vocals, and the underlying instrumentation gets harder and it is more pronounced, but they're mixing so well together that is absolutely insane. It's what you want. And Miles Kennedy's vocals overall, top form on this is his vocals are just perfectly placed. Never misses a note. Overall, In the Deep. Now, this is going to be a big call for me. This is, I think, the second greatest Alter Bridge song of all time, only behind Metalingus from their first album. Number 4, we had Godspeed. Now, this song, when I got out of it, was all about the recent loss of someone that you're close to and reflecting on how their life has impacted you. So think like a loved one, like your grandmother, your grandfather, maybe your mom, your dad, sister, brother, your spouse, your significant other, whoever it may be. So this is where this song really is coming in. And it has a much more melodic hard rock style to it as comparison like In the Deep or What Wouldn't You Rather Have. It had this intro keyboard piano, which really kind of sets up that more melodic sound than the others had already, gone through. And I'm interested to see how this one kind of came in. It also has that hard rock sound because it keeps that hard rock instrumentation throughout the whole entire song, but also while keeping that melodic feel because it doesn't necessarily shred or really change over. So it's a very interesting mixture that I think really only works just due to the fact that you have two magnificent songwriters coming up with this who have honed their craft, and this is just all the layers coming together really well. Vocals, my bad. Miles has just some insane range on this. I mean, he hits the high notes in the chorus and just shows off the normal power of his vocals in the verse and the outro. So it's like he's not really overstating anything. He's just showing off his power as a vocalist, and why people don't give him the credit for this in the media or, in pop culture, God only knows. The guitar solo, there is one very nicely placed here as it adds another layer to the song because it just shreds a lot more and it breaks up that melodic feel, but it doesn't lose it overall, which is an incredible, insane feature of songwriting. So overall, I first heard this song and I really actually liked it, but as I began to deconstruct it for you guys and really go in deep with it, I began to love it even more. Native Son was the 5th song. It's all about kind of that life, when life changes around you and you're noticing it and you really don't want it to change. So commenting on, again, things changing around you and you being more resistant to it. Intro, we're going classic Alter Bridge. It starts out with a softer hard rock sound, then goes full hard rock, all led by Mark's lead guitar. And I actually like the way this one works because there's a nice contrast between the first half and the second half of it, where the first half of the intro, it's a lot softer. In the second half, it just goes hard, which is what I'm waiting for. And my eye is twitching for the one that I busted open. So, that's a little weird. Vocally, I said Miles was close to top form because the verse, the pre-chorus, he was absolutely excellent. The vibrato on his vocals was stunning. It was something you could really feel. The chorus is where the pitch of the vocals, it was not bad. It just didn't seem to fit with the rest of the song. And it was specifically right at the beginning of it. of the song in the chorus. It just didn't really fit well. I just didn't know what to put it there. It just didn't really vibe or mesh. But overall, the construction of the song I thought was just absolutely and insanely beautiful. It was something that you really, are going to want to listen to over and over again. It's a very powerful song, but the only blemish on the song is that part in the chorus that I really just could not stand. Number 6, we have the third single, Take the Crown. All about, upending the current establishment, but with a much deeper meaning that whatever stands in our way from achieving our goals, that, we have the power to push past it and take that down. So it's kind of the empowerment motif over here. It's rather similar to intro and Would You Rather with that classic style intro. And it kind of then goes into, that hard rock greatness that Alter Bridge can really bring forward. Again, that's all based off of what the leading guitar of Mark Tremonti can really drive the underlying instrumentation for. So I was pretty pleased with that. The verses had much more of a melodic approach to it, along with the pre-chorus, and that's all due to Miles' vocals. But they were very different, where the verses were much more drawn out with his vocals, but then the pre-chorus really condensed it more in. The chorus was interesting. It had this hopeful feel to it, mixing, that what I thought was an Alter Bridge feel with a more melodic style that's if Skillet went with it. Because whenever I think Skillet, I'm always thinking real hopeful and just really good. I'm not saying, should I say really good? I don't know, but it always makes you feel hopeful for life. Always look on the positive side of things. And that's what this song had to feel, but was Alter Bridge's version of it. So that's kind of where I'm going with comparing it to Skillet. The song's easy highlight in this one is Miles Kenny's range. He hits his notes perfectly, and the guitar solo after the last chorus, ooh, it's a nice touch. Overall, beautifully composed. Nothing more. Let's go to number 7. We have Indoctrination. The song's message on this one, it's all about how those outside influences, other people in your life, significant others, people, that you don't know, like politicians, kind of influencing your life and make you think what they want you to think, and you kind of falling for it. So it's a lot about conformity against your own individual thought. So that's what it's really kind of commenting on. The intro is a lot different than what we've seen from that classic Alter Bridge sound, because it opens with that weird futuristic sound with kind of that space sounding keyboard and weird twang in the guitar to give you that future rock instrumentation. And I was a little thrown off by it. Miles' vocals in the first verse are really brought down and focused in more on a lower tone. So it was a really interesting mix to kind of come in. But that's when then after that, the chorus comes in, and it's a lot different versus, when the verses came in. The instrumentation is a lot more melodic hard rock, like we saw in Godspeed with the chorus version, or the chorus for Indoctrination. Miles returns back to that old vocal range in that certain pitch that we really like him for. So I was like, okay, that's pretty good, adding over it. Overall, this song, I don't think it contained the great layers that Alter Bridge really can show and was hoping for, so I was a little thrown back by that. I said, Miles' vocals is where this track just shines. It's all in Miles' vocals on Indoctrination, where the shining light is. Let's go to number 8. We're at the bitter end. Song is another, self-reflecting song, saying that your life's going to come to an end, that you should live your life the way you want to do it and to the fullest, that you want to do it before it's too late and you're on your deathbed with just feelings of regret. It's kind of constructed like a ballad, and this actually might be the most beautifully constructed overall, because it's like a hard rock ballad, but it's not like those hard rock ballads that you have heard. It's not Every Rose Has Its Thorn. It's not something like that. There's so many layers to the instrumentation, where the first verse provides with a background tone that really kind of gives you that ballad feel overall. Then the chorus brings a more uplifting hard rock style to it that keeps that ballad tone. And the guitar work by Mark Tremonti is what's really driving that whole entire thing. It's something that's incredibly difficult to really come forward with and really hit on the head. But I thought they did it absolutely beautifully on this one. And Miles, again, hits every single note with the proper pitch. Whatever he wants to show you, whatever kind of emotion he wants to invoke in you, he's going to show you on the bitter end. It is one of the most well-constructed songs on the album by far, has so many different layers on it, and not one layer is missed or mixed up, yeah. Number 9, Pay No Mind. Second single on the album. This song is a commentary about how the government can mistreat its people and how we have the power to stand up against it as a whole. But that's only if we want to, and it has to all be done together. The song does start with that driving hard rock sound, which fits the underlying theme as well, to kind of drive people into a little bit more of a frenzy, I should say. Yeah, I'm going to say Frenzy. And that just kind of stays consistent with that hard rock sound, which I actually really enjoyed. Miles shows less range overall on this one, but it's something where it's like it actually works because in comparison to the album, he really shows a lot of range. With this one, he kind of compresses what he can all do into like a little bit of a box here to kind of just give it a little bit of a different feel. I do like what they do in the pre-chorus on this one, is it adds that extra layer to the song because it kind of just gives you a little bit more of a upbeat feel to it. Well, I really wish the instrumentals would have been more heavily featured, and because I didn't think there was enough from Tremonti's guitar here. I thought that would have really added the profile to the song. So overall, I don't think it's a bad song, but it could have been done better if Alter Bridge would have gone forward and done what they had done a lot of and just add more layers onto their sound. Alrighty, this is the one song that I think I really had an issue with, and it is Forever Falling. Now, this song is all about, your own mental health and how it can consume you negatively and really not let you out of it. So a lot about, getting stuck inside yourself, a lot to deal with depression, all that kind of stuff, which again, very admirable. There's a lot of bands that are really attacking that. Now, this is the one I've been looking forward to most because I knew there was a song on the album that had Mark Tremonti singing instead of Miles Kennedy, and there goes another asshole car. I swear, I live by a bunch of people who don't really know how to take care of their engines. I swear, I think it's a motorcycle coming through and it's a Chevy Impala. Okay, so back to Forever Falling. And this one, again, look forward to because I love Tremonti's vocals. They have a grittier, rougher sound than Miles does that really resonates well with me. And I really like what they did instrumentally on this track because it starts out acoustic, then it goes into hard rock, and it has a rapid pace to the verses, which was mixed really well. The chorus keeps that hard rock sound but slows it down in pace. But the impact is still kept, so instrumentally, this song was written and composed beautifully, but the vocals from Mark, this is where I have the issue, and it's something where I think this is more on me than anybody else, because I love the vocals that he uses in songs for Tremonti, like, Take You With Me, I think that's now, I'll take you with me. I'm going to look them up because there's some of them that I, like the vocals that he does on them, I really enjoy. So where are you, Mark Tremonti? There you are. So stuff like, So You're Not Afraid, Another Heart, My Last Minute, and yeah, Take You With Me. So songs like that is where I'm really looking at. So I'm like, I was hoping for that kind of style vocals, but it just wasn't there at this point. It just wasn't there. He had a higher pitch than he normally did, which really threw me off. And I'm like, oh, I like the instrumentation on this song, but overall, I wasn't a big fan because I thought they're going to go with that, harder, grittier Tremonti kind of style for a Tremonti-led single or song. I'm like, you know what? I think this was just a missed opportunity. But then again, if this is where I'm like, this is where I had the issue on the album, is that really a bad thing in the overall grand scheme of things? Okay, we got 4 more to go. We got Clear Horizon at number 11. This song is another one that shines a light on living life to the fullest before it's too late. Because, you only get one shot at it. Instrumentally, I mean, this one keeps up with that theme of layered construction, and it's done again really well. Because the song has a consistent hard rock sound to it, but it's always mixed in with, like, the first verse, the pre-chorus. They have a softer sound overall than the rest of the song. The chorus follows through with that harder sound, and it's driven by this higher pitched vocal that Miles really shows, and it is really something that you got to really, focus in on because it is well done. The bridge is brought down, but it's also used to build back into that chorus. So there's a lot going on in this song. And vocally, Miles Kennedy, I think he shows the most amount of range on this single song because his vocals are all over the place. But it's a little bit different when I mean all over the place because most of the time when I say someone's vocals are all over the place, it's like, okay, you're hitting all these different notes, but they're just not there. This one, his range was everywhere. But it was perfectly placed everywhere, and he hit every single note perfectly. They were never scattered. It was always on the right spot. So overall, another song band put together that was very well constructed, but it does get lost in the shuffle, unfortunately, because it has this sameness feel to it, especially listening to the album through and through, because the pace is usually pretty much the same, and it's kind of like, oh, I forgot about this one. The last 3 songs on this album are a little bit different. So number 12 is Walking the Sky. The song kind of wraps up living your life to the fullest and asks you if when you did it, did you do it for you? Are you happy with your choices? So it's really a matter of self-reflection, kind of like after you've lived your whole entire life. It does have a ballad feel throughout the beginning, but then it also keeps that hard rock sound. It's not downtrodden, it's not low, it's more reflective. And the song does come to an end with that hard rock sound and a really nice guitar solo from Mark that mixes very well. Again, I'm speaking very highly of the composition of the songs on this album because it deserves to be spoken very highly of, and I think that's where it is. Vocally, Miles follows suit with the underlying instrumentation, where he doesn't use his highest pitch vocals like we've seen him use before, but he uses a more forceful sound that you really want to get on something like this when you're talking about reflecting on what you have done and you can't change it. So it really works, oddly enough. Well put together song by Walking on the Sky. However, I had a feeling with the meaning and like the feel of the overall song, this should have been the last song on the album. But then I heard what the last two were going to be, and I had something for this one. So I will speak to why these three songs at the end were really interestingly placed at the end, if I liked it or if I disliked it. Okay. Tear Us Apart is the second last song on the album. It's a reflection of like striving for happiness. Talks about how you should not give up hope and still work towards it, so don't let failure defeat you. So it's after looking back at your whole entire life and thinking that you can't change and what you wanted to change. Now it's like, okay, well, you still have the chance because you're still alive, so make it happen. This is composed with a lighter sound overall, but it keeps the feeling of like that, finale, finalizing the album. And it's really interesting, but it keeps that Alter Bridge hard rock sound, and it doesn't relent on it, which I really did like. Miles goes with a much higher pitch on this one as compared to like Walking on the Sky, which actually really does work because it fits well with the underlying instrumentation. I can't say much more about it. It just fits really well. And it's another well put together song to close the album. I'm like, wait, it's not close the album. I've still got one more to go, and that's the last single, Dying Light. And I think the song really hits on the notion of where we are in the dire moments of life. We realize how important, what's important in our lives and what makes us happy. So it kind of comes to the, now you're dead, now you're looking at it, now you've got the one choice. But this is your last chance to make it happen. So I kind of like how that meaning was kind of interestingly woven in together in the last three songs. And when three songs could have felt like they could have ended it right then and there. Now, Miles Kennedy called this song one that like integrates into an epic element for the band. And they've kind of been building on this since Blackbird, but it doesn't really overdo it. It kind of takes the listener on a nice sonic journey. So let's see if Miles Kennedy actually really had it on there. The intro does provide a more lighter tone and a journey filled tone. I'm not talking journey band, I'm just talking like it feels like you're actually going on a journey. Kind of like the quest to completion, to complete, doing what you want to do in life, completing the album, whatever it may be. The tempo is actually stuck on a slower tempo compared to the rest of the album to give that song that epic feel. And yes, it does achieve what Miles was talking about, very much so. The instrumentation does get harder as the song progresses, but it does still keep that, slowed up feel to it. And it doesn't lose that journey feeling either. And it's after it gets built up, it brings you all back down after a Tremonti solo, which I thought was really well done. Kennedy, again, hits all the notes on this one, and it achieves what Miles wanted overall. And it is really perfectly placed at the closing track. All right, so what did I like about this? I got to talk about those last three songs again because that was one thing I really liked about this album was I thought each one could have ended the album perfectly if you would have stopped it right then and there, but they placed them so perfectly together with their meaning. I already spoke about it, but how they're placed together, it's like a whole nice ending to it to really make sure it hammers home its whole entire meaning. Other things I liked about this album, the composition, the songwriting. When you get Miles Kennedy and Mark Tremonti to write songs and you get Alter Bridge, it's going to be very tough to beat them in terms of composition, instrumentation, everything when it comes to their whole entire songwriting process. And did they disappoint on this one? Absolutely not. It is just kept up there to where they are some of the best in rock music today when it comes to writing songs, composing everything, putting it together. These guys are masters of their craft. Miles Kennedy's vocals was another high point of the album because he showed so much range on this. He shows the power that he has in driving emotion for whatever it may be, from those high-pitched vocals to lower sounds to something faster, something slow in pace, something more drawn out. He hits almost every single note perfectly except for a couple of times, like 98, 99% of the time, he is spot on. And that is very, very, very hard to do for anybody. So if anyone's going to be able to pull off like almost perfect, it's going to end up being Miles Kennedy. So I have to applaud him there. The last big key I have on this is I have to talk about In the Deep again. Like I said, I thought this was their second best track of all time. And this was even before, the whole album was released. I'm like, this is awesome. So they really kind of played to that as well. And I absolutely loved it. Dislikes on the album, I talk about a consistency. Between songs 2 through 13, there's kind of a consistent pace to them overall that really kind of gets you lost in the shuffle with them. And it's not always a bad thing, but when you listen to the album a couple times through, it does get a little monotonous. I am a little disappointed in Forever Falling, though, because of Tremonti's vocals. I thought they were going to go with something a little bit more gruffier and harder and kind of go with that Tremonti style, but it wasn't there, and I just think it was a missed opportunity to really keep this album, I will say near perfect, but it still is pretty good. Overall, this is what I wrote for overall, and I want to tell you exactly what it is word for word. An album that is fantastic and will surely stand the test of time, as the songwriting from Alter Bridge is incredibly well done. Complex in every aspect, but it flows together almost seamlessly. Despite its tempo being rather monochromatic at times, this will go down as one of the best Alter Bridge albums of all time, if not the best right now, which I am calling it, and potentially one of the best albums of 2019. Overall rating out of 10, 0 being and 10 being perfection, I give Walk the Sky an 8.5. Now that is huge. Is it going to be in the top 10 when we do our top 10 albums of the year? Could Walk the Sky end up there with an 8.5 out of 10? Very much so. Last 8.5 out of 10 we gave, I believe that was for Shaped by Fire by As I Lay Dying. So not bad. Not bad. Alrighty, guys, my voice is hoarse. It's sore. We went through Walk the Sky. You heard my whole entire thing with Motionless in White and why I can't wait to go see him again. Got the cut on my face. I mean, I'm feeling good. So, next week, you're going to hear some more concert stuff because I get to go see Beartooth I Prevail in a Day to Remember in Minneapolis, and I can go see him with two of my friends, one being one that I recently kind of hung out with, or I started recently hanging out with after a while, but not too much beforehand because he was friends with one of my other friends, kind of something like that, but now him and I are good friends. And then one of my best friends from high school. They live in Minneapolis. I'm going up there for Beartooth I Prevail in a Day to Remember. Hopefully my eye heals, and we get Saint Asonia's new album, Flawed Design, next week. Or actually on Friday we get it. So get ready for that because Adam Gontier is back! So needless to say, guys, I am absolutely excited, and I can't wait for all of this. It's going to be another great week here in my Song of the Day land, or I should just say Kevin land, because Kevin land's a good land. And, well, that's going to be it for me, guys. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the Chord Progression podcast because this was such a fun one to do, especially talking about all the Motionless in White stuff. God, I want to see them again. They are a band that if you have not seen them live, you are doing yourself an incredible disservice by not going to see them. So that is it for me. This is Kevin from the My Song Rock 2008 Chord Progression podcast. Gonna say, see